The remarkable story of Jacob, the man who battled with God, is a captivating tale that is still regarded as one of the best in the Bible. It is not only a record of a life full of trials, deceit, and personal adventures, but it also offers a profound analysis of the fundamentals of faith, human suffering, and spiritual development. Jacob's life mirrors our own in that it shows how the most difficult times can become the cornerstones for a genuine encounter with the divine. From his birth, when he was foreshadowed to lead a life filled with rivalries, to the famous battle in the middle of the night when he must overcome not only a physical foe but also the essence of his soul, Jacob's life serves as a mirror to our own journeys. If you are interested in watching videos about the Bible's lessons, please consider supporting us by subscribing. Also, don't forget to turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our next videos. The Bible first mentions Jacob in Genesis 25, when Rebekah, Jacob's mother, asked God why her two unborn children were fighting in her womb, Jacob and his twin brother Esau. And God answered that the brothers' animosity foreshadowed the two nations that would arise from them. Genesis 36 states that Jacob would be the ancestor of Israel and Esau of Edom. Furthermore, according to Genesis 25 verse 23, the elder brother Esau would work as a servant for the younger brother Jacob. The genealogy of Abraham's son Isaac is told in Genesis 25. Abraham became Isaac's father, and at the age of 40, he wed Rebekah, the sister of Laban, an Aramean, and the daughter of Bethuel, an Aramean from Padanaram. Because Rebekah was barren, Isaac prayed to the Lord on her behalf. The Lord heard him, and Rebekah got pregnant. The babies jostled inside of her, and she asked herself, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to the Lord to find out. As the time for her to give birth arrived, she was carrying twin boys. The first to emerge was red and had hair all over his body. He was named Esau. The second to emerge had his hand grasping Esau's heel. He was named Jacob Isaac. Rebekah was 60 years old when the boys were born. The boys grew up, with Esau becoming a skilled hunter and a man of the open country, while Jacob chose to stay at home among them. When Jacob was preparing stew, Esau came in from the open country starving. He said to Jacob, "Let me have some of that red stew, I'm famished," which is why he was also known as Edom. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, adored Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. The Bible presents Jacob as being full of cunning and guile from the moment of his birth until his conflict with God in Genesis 32 verses 24 to 29. Jacob's most notorious lies were directed at his twin brother Esau in return for his birthright, a twofold part of his father's, as the eldest son. Isaac's bequest Jacob brought a bowl of soup to his famished sibling. Genesis 25 verses 29 to 34 states that once, while Jacob was preparing stew, Esau arrived from the open country, hungry. He said to Jacob, "Quick, give me some of that red stew. I'm famished." Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." Esau replied, "Look, I'm about to die. What good is the birthright to me?" Jacob replied, "Swear to me first." So he swore an oath, and Jacob gave him some bread and lentil stew. Esau ate and drank, then got up and left, making him despise his birthright. Additionally, Jacob denied him his father's blessing, which Esau was entitled to. Genesis 27 verses 1 to 29 tells us that when Isaac was old and blind from age, he called for his oldest son Esau and said, "My son, here I am." Esau answered, "I am now an old man and do not know the day of my death. Now then get your equipment, your quiver and bow, and go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare me the kind of tasty food I like and bring it to me, to eat so that I may give you my blessing before I die." Now Rebekah addressed her son. Jacob looked like he heard his father talking to his brother Esau, saying, "Bring me some game and prepare me some tasty food to eat so that I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die. Now my son, listen carefully and do as I say. Go to the flock and bring me 2 young goats so I can prepare some tasty food for your father just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat so that he may give you his blessing before he dies." Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, "But I have smooth skin, but my brother Esau is hairy. What if my father touches my skin? I would pretend that I was deceiving him and bring a curse upon myself instead of a blessing." His mother told him, "My son, let the curse fall on me, just do what I say, go and get them for me." He went and got them, and she cooked some delicious food just the way his father liked it. Then Rebekah dressed her younger son Jacob in the finest clothes that Esau, her older son, had ever worn, covering his hands and the smooth part of his neck with goatskin. Finally, Rebekah gave her son Jacob the delicious food and the bread she had baked. Jacob said to his father, "I'm Esau, your firstborn. I've done as you told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game so that you may give me your blessing." He went to his father and said, "Yes, my son." He replied, "Who is it?" Isaac said, "How did you find it so quickly?" "The Lord, your God, gave me success." And then he beckoned Jacob to approach so that he could be touched in order to determine whether or not he was indeed his son Esau. Jacob approached his father, who touched him and said, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are Esau's hands." He then blessed him, saying, "Are you really my son Esau?" To which he replied, "Yes," and added, "My son, bring me some of your game to eat so that I may give you my blessing." Jacob gave it to him, and after he ate and drank, his father Isaac called out to him, "Come here, my son, and kiss me." When Jacob kissed him, Isaac noted that the scent of his son was similar to that of a field that the Lord had blessed, and he prayed that God would grant him the riches of heaven and earth, as well as an abundance of grain and fresh wine. May the nations assist you. Be lord over your brothers, and may the sons of your mother submit to you. As a result, Esau became determined to kill his younger brother, so Jacob fled to his mother's homeland. En route, he saw angels and a ladder to heaven. Once in Haran, Jacob meets his match in the person of his uncle Laban. Genesis 29 verse 29. So Jacob set out and arrived in the region of the eastern peoples close to Haran. Gazing around, he noticed a field with a well beside it, and 3 flocks of sheep were laying there since the well provided water for the flocks. When all the flocks gathered at the well, the shepherds would roll the large stone away from the well's mouth, water the sheep, and then replace it over the well's mouth. Jacob asked his brothers, "Where are you from?" And they replied, "We are from Haran." He then asked, "Do you know Lon, Nahor's grandson, Abraham's brother?" And they replied, "We do." He then asked, "Is he well?" And they replied, "Look, here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep." Observing the son's continued ascent, Jacob stated that it is premature to gather the flocks in their cages for the nighttime watering of the sheep. He was continued talking to them, but they said, "We can't water the sheep until all the flocks are collected and the shepherds rolled the stone out of the well's mouth." Since Rachel was a shepherdess, she had come with her father's sheep. When Jacob saw Rachel, the sheep of Laban, his uncle, and the daughter of Lon, his mother's brother, he went over, rolled the stone out of the well's mouth, and watered the flock. Jacob then gave Rachel a kiss, raised his voice, and sobbed. When Laban learned that Jacob was the son of his sister, Rachel went to tell her father that he was, in fact, a relative of his. Jacob claimed to be Rebekah's son. He hurried to greet him, gave him a hug, kissed him, and took him to his home. After telling Lon everything, Laban said, "You are my bone and my flesh." Jacob stayed with Laban for a month. Then, Laban asked Jacob, "Just because you are my relative, should you work for me for free? Tell me, what should your wages be?" Lon had 2 daughters, Rachel and Leah. Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel had a wonderful form and appearance. Jacob, who was in love with Rachel, offered her a 7-year contract in exchange for Rachel marrying your younger daughter. In order to get the right to marry Rachel, Jacob served Laban for 7 years, but because of his love for her, it seemed like only a few days. Eventually, Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife, because it is better that I give her to you in marriage than that another man stay and work with me." Lon then gathered all the men of the area and prepared a wedding feast with wine, but at night, he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to Jacob. Jacob consummated the marriage with her, and Laban gave Zillah his servant to his daughter. However, when Jacob awoke in the morning, Leah was with him. He asked Lon, "What have you done to me? Did I not serve you for 7 years for Rachel? Why have you deceived me and treated me this way?" Lon simply replied, "It is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before for the older one." Finish the wedding week with Leah, then we will also give you Rachel, and in return you will work for me for another years. Jacob agreed, and after Leah's wedding week, Laban gave Jacob his daughter Rachel as a second wife. Jacob's story does not have a happy ending. After being misled by his older brothers, he would lose his favorite son and his loving wife Rachel during labor. Despite everything, God tells Jacob that he is with him and that his promises are true, even though at the time he is unable to understand how they are possible. Jacob's life ends in a distant place. If you think this material is helpful, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our next films. Together, we can increase awareness and open more minds. Which aspects of Jacob's story, when reading about his struggles, do you relate to? Where in your life do you need to ask for forgiveness? Are you tenaciously seeking a relationship with God? How can you get closer to Him while staying humble? When we apply the lessons God has for us from the stories in His Word, we can grow, have more peace, and become the men and women God has called us to be. Thank you for being here, and may God bless you.